Hey everybody, welcome to Immortals Inc. podcast again. My name is Carlos Robles. I'm owner and part-time shenanigan holder here at Immortals Inc. I lost what I wanted to say. And we're going to bring you another audio podcast. And with me again, I have Nate Elwood.
How you doing?
And he's going to be talking about, or we're going to be talking about Shadowrun today?
Shadowrun, yes.
All right, yeah. I think we talked about it before, but we're going to get your take on it. We're going to give some good stuff, hopefully.
It's always good stuff.
Yeah. Well, like always, we're going to go over whatever we got new in the store that I have to sell, or else my wife gets very, very mad because, God forbid you get some stuff. The most exciting thing so far, since this is one day before Halloween.
Yes.
The new Vampire, the Masquerade 5th edition. Is it 5th edition?
5th edition.
5th edition came out. It's a beautiful hardcore book. It's everything you needed to play. We're going to do this, probably our next podcast, video cast, is going to be about this. Nate's going to digest it and tell us all about it.
Yeah.
Actually, I bought a copy too.
Looking forward to it.
I couldn't help myself. We have several copies in stock. It's $55 out the door, and you're good to go.
Yeah, for a full game system, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not, and then you get the PDF with it too. So, Did you try that yet?
Not yet. No.
It's no fun. Also, we got in a huge amount of Sentinels of the Multiverse. This is a superhero card game. Have you ever played this?
I've never.
I think it's a deck building game, but it's a superhero. It's one of those like off-market or off-brand ones, but it's really popular. I sell a lot of it. We got the new Oblivion here, and there's some other supplements, and then the huge carrying case. This thing's like a suitcase.
Oh yeah.
And I came in. I'm like, why is it? Why do we have this? And then somebody immediately notified it or noticed it and said, "Oh yeah, my buddy's got that already." So I guess it's something popular. In time for Halloween again, Axis Allies and Zombies. I guess it's Axis and Allies, and you just add some zombie problems with it, and you go from there.
It's an interesting concept. Axis and Allies is probably one of the most complicated board games you'll ever pick up.
I know it's.
But if you throw maybe they made it more whimsical. I don't know.
To deal with zombies, I think the zombies are. I think that's like an extra problem on top of the battles. So we'll see how that goes. It's $40. That's actually not bad for a board game.
For
like
a full
that.
board game, especially one
Whoops.
like that. Yeah.
I'm piling up too much here. And from Games Workshop, this box is actually kind of heavy. Speed Freaks. A lot of people are looking forward to this. This is the Mad Max version of Orcs. It's got the battle wagons. What's it come with? Like two cars and two motorcycles?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. It comes with a few miniatures, a whole gaming system itself, and the miniatures can actually be used in 40K.
Yeah, because
they're up to scale, so it's not like a separate thing.
Yeah, they're releasing Orcs this week, so
yeah,
I know a lot of these are part of it. Actually, it looks like you get 2 cars and 6 bikes.
They're cool miniatures. I'll give them that. They're really cool. If it was a faction that I was into, I'd definitely pick it up.
This box is really heavy, so there's a lot of stuff in here. But this retails at $150. These we also have in stock. So that's all I'm gonna go on about for new product. I got some other stuff too, but miniatures, D&D miniatures. Since it's before Wednesday, we got all the unpainted, the gray primed ones. There's a T-Rex in there. There's the Razamor or Remivore, the giant bug thing, dragon.
And any parents out there, if your kids like miniatures, these things are awesome.
Yeah,
pick them up. They won't bust your budget, and your kids can paint them with regular acrylic paint, and that gets them into 2 things at once. It's nice.
Yeah, you get 2 pre-painted miniatures for $4.99 is usually what it's for. And the bigger ones are $14.99.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad, but they're a big chunk of miniature, so it's a lot of fun. Anything else you saw out there today?
There's tons of stuff out there.
Josh, anything?
You still got Torg on the shelf. Watch your surprise.
Torg.
Pick that one up.
I gotta get Torg. Listen, Torg will be Torg.
Yeah.
I think it's still a good game.
It is.
Man, I can't think of anything else. I got a lot of stuff yesterday.
And that was all D&D stuff they were bringing in yesterday.
Yeah,
that was a lot of D&D stuff. And Vanguard. So a lot of Vanguard.
Oh, the new Vanguard. Yeah, I got to restock on the new Vanguard. It's Strong 1 or A1, A4 Strong or some weird title. Those guys scare me. But they buy it and they play it. So if you're looking for Vanguard, we got it. If they didn't all buy it out yesterday. I'm pretty sure they didn't, though. And that's about it. So, Nate, give us a rundown on Shadowrun. This has been around for a while. I know the
long
This
time.
one, another one of these old games like with Torg and D&D and Call of Cthulhu. This is another one that's been around forever, back and forth. So why don't you give us your take on it, or your spiel, as I say?
Well, Shadowrun holds a little bit of special place for me because it was the first non-Dungeons and Dragons game that I played. Like, it originally came out in 1989, the first edition of it. I had no idea about it. At that time, it was AD&D second edition. That's all me and my friends played. In 1992, they came out with a Sega Genesis game called Shadowrun. It was based off of the setting, and I think I was 12 at the time. Me and my friends, we went to Blockbuster. This is dating us right here. I went to Blockbuster Video and rented a game, and it was the Shadowrun game.
You're so cool.
And we sat there. Me and my friends, even though it was a one-player game, me and my friends sat there and played that for probably 16 hours straight, just playing this game. And that led us to actually buying the book and playing the role-playing game aspect of it, and we were hooked. It's one of those things where the old-timers will know all about it, and this was my original one from 1993. This thing's so beat up now, but it's got a lot of use, and that's because I played that thing constantly. It was just it's an interesting idea, concept, setting-wise. It's like a dystopian fantasy cyberpunk. Takes a lot of different genres, throws them all together, and you think it would just come out as tan, or just throw all the colors together, everything turns black. This comes out like a rainbow. It's interesting.
It's a funny thing I was going to say, that I was looking at it. You can tell this was made when at a different time of print, when print was the only way to read things. Because look how beat up this book is, and it's still solid.
Yes.
Like, it's not all loose or goosey or anything like that. Not like you couldn't go on the internet and say, let me go just get my PDF copy.
Yes.
These had to last, or else you wouldn't buy it. So that's funny. All right, go ahead. But
And a soft cover too, which is
I know.
surprising.
It'll probably last longer than this one, which is sad. But
Yes.
yeah, what are you gonna do?
But it's been through now. It's on the 5th edition now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been through a lot. I played up until right before 4th edition, the end of 3rd edition, up until the Year of the Comet. People who played Shadowrun will know what that is, but basically, with any role-playing game, they go through different phases. You hit a plateau, you got to think of something different.
Yeah.
You change the world, change the setting, or change mechanics, and then you launch again. And once I got to 4th edition, my buddies and I, we tried to get back into it. The system was a little goofy, and just couldn't get back into it. It was just they made it more complicated than it needed to be, and I think it lost a lot of people. But Catalyst Games picked it up, and they made the 5th edition. And the people who worked on this love this game. You can always tell when somebody who knows what they're doing and has an appreciation for it work on it.
If you actually go to conventions with Catalyst Game, a lot of times the guy that's an older guy, I can't think of his name, but the one writer or the owner, he's been involved for the whole time. I think they brought him back in, or he's in and out, and I think the guys who do this care about it.
Right.
I think somebody tried to pick it up and run with it and put their own stamp on it, like you said, and it didn't turn out as well.
Well, they updated. I mean, the original one was published in 1989. So technology in 1989, you still had Apple computer was about the only computer you can, and those things were gigantic, and green screen and everything. So what they saw the future as was very different than obviously what it turned into. And as the years went on, it starts off. I think 2nd edition started in 2053, and then it went to 63, 73. It's like the starting date for it.
Yeah.
Now, they brought in what it's like to have a wireless matrix and all the other cool aspects that really got updated for what I would consider more modern times. But they still kept the flavor of the game, and that's really important. And they kept the all the magic, all the cool stuff of the game.
Why don't you give us what the genre is on this?
It's hard to pin down. I mean, you literally have a world. It's Earth. It's an alternate Earth. It's a dystopian future. Corporations run everything. They even have their own private armies. And the basis of the game is everybody's kind of filtered into this rigid society. You have the corporations that run everything, and you work for the corporation, or you work for government, or you are bottom feeder, pretty much just scraping by to earn a living, poverty. You have the super wealthy and those who don't. And
no
filling
middle
the gaps,
class. Yeah.
Filling the gaps are the player characters. They do the work they're called shadow runners for that reason. They run the shadows. They do the work that other companies don't want to get their hands directly dirty with, Sometimes it could be something for just a guy around the corner who just wants some wet work done or whatever it may be. But they are the necessary criminal element that keeps the gears working. And
well, they have the different races too.
yes,
It's like I always thought of it as if fantasy evolved.
yes,
Like, you know how the D&D world, it's always stuck in the Middle Ages, and it could be thousands of years in the Middle Ages, which kind of doesn't make sense. But I think, you know, magic just nukes itself at one point and gets go back. But imagine that magic didn't, or the medieval times didn't, the fantasy settings evolved naturally, and the technology evolved with magic, and that's what you got here, I think.
Well, with Shadowrun, like the way that their background sets it up is up until 1999 in this world, everything was just like you knew it, except one day, corporations, you know, obviously come to power and elites take over and everything. But one day, magic returns back to the world, and then people, they called it goblinization, where normal humans all of a sudden just started turning into dwarves and elves and orcs and trolls and all of these other things, and it was, you know, takes the world through more and more turmoil. Dragons appear and all these other myriad of creatures that are fantastical, and it's unique. It's I remember the first time I heard about what it was about, I'm like, that sounds stupid. Like, that's really, you can't, because at that time my thinking was, you know, if you're going to have a wizard, that's, you know, he's got the cape and you know, he's got a dude with a sword next to him. Like, that to me was magic. Like, you didn't have, or you had extreme cyberpunk where the magic was just really high technology. This really blended it really, really well, and it's lasted. People love Shadowrun for that reason. It's a very unique setting.
It's a mixture of technology and magic, and
you
you could do whatever you wanted.
Right.
You could have a gun and still,
yes,
you know, throw a fireball or something goofy like that.
I mean, you
had
had
an orc with a.
You had people that rip out their nervous system and replace it with wires so they can be faster.
I think it also appeals to that, the cyberpunks and everything like that. But you go back to the adventures. That's what you are. You're the player character. You're the ones running around doing all the extra work.
Right. You're the ones in the shadows. Depending on what type of characters you have and what they're good at, you can have these. Most Shadowruns are obviously a mystery, and you tend to get screwed over one way or another. But at the end of the day, the group itself gets a reputation, and they start getting better, more money, and the runs that they do. So it's kind of like a mercenary type idea to it.
I hate to compare it to anything that's. I hate to compare it to this movie because I hated this movie, but Blight from Netflix. Bright? Was it Bright?
Yeah,
Blight, I like better.
Smith.
Yeah, terrible.
I mean, it had some of the concepts in there.
That was
the different
definitely.
races.
It was
and
a definitely Shadowrun-ish type of thing, but yeah, that could be a comparison to it. Any movies you can think of? I'm just trying to.
Blade Runner would be up there.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
I mean, just if you think cyberpunk, it can fit in there. It really can. But
Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic for sure.
Johnny Mnemonic for sure. Terrible movie.
That was terrible. It's sad that these movies are just so bad. But I mean,
the
genre is good.
Yeah, at the time it was good. Oh, The Matrix. That would.
Yeah, The Matrix would be in there too.
Yeah, that would be in there.
Although it's a different concept, but yeah, it'd be up there too.
Okay, so if the world that The Matrix was in was real, then that would be Shadowrun almost. Kind of, maybe, possibly.
Kind of,
There's like werewolves and stuff in there.
Yeah, there's werewolves.
Yeah,
in
there is. I guess. I mean, it's hard for me to like say yes or no to that simply because you can interpret it so many different ways. And,
Sorry, I needed a drink.
Like with the Matrix, like everything was just a computer program. This is like reality, but there is a Matrix in it. So think of like the World Wide Web except on steroids, where people literally take their brains and put it into the computer system.
Yeah, that's a pretty normal concept now. But I know when it came out, there was a far-fetched concept.
Yeah, it was
no way, because there's a book. You ever read the book Hyperion?
I did not.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi. That's another one that like that. If anybody's ever read Hyperion, that's kind of what Shadowrun is too. So it has a lot to do with crazy sci-fi fantasy on top of it. What about the system? What's the gaming system?
It's unique to Shadowrun. It's a pretty simple system. It's definitely one of these types of rules that you have to go through once to kind of like, you want to not play test it, but go through a couple of interactions a few times just to get how the system works. But it's all D6s and dice pools. It's complicated in the sense that you can do a lot in it, but not complicated as in if you know what you wanted to do, there's a rule for it. If you get what I'm saying, like they have to encompass not only magic but working inside of a computer world, working with people who move faster than greased lightning. They have to all of these things they had to put into one system, and they did it well. They do it really well with this. Character generation, especially if you guys want to pick up the rule book, it is a hefty book. It's got a lot of information in here, a lot, but it's a complete system. You don't have to go out and buy 5 or 6 different books like D&D or something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want to play D&D. Okay, well, we need $150. You need these 3 books. This has everything you need to play the game.
Is there any adventures in there?
They give a lot of springboards. Here's an idea. Here's an idea. Here's an idea. I normally never suggest too many things, but pick up the player's core book too. This has so many cool ideas for player characters, different types of meta creatures. They even have a way to create a character by going through their birth, through adolescence, and into adulthood. And it's a very unique system. It's really fun, especially for new players to play the game. Mm-hmm. So like, okay, this is where you started at. Then you make a decision. Okay, this is where you were in your teenage years, and you're adding skills to a base set as you move up in your life. And it's very unique. It reminds me a lot of Traveler, except you won't die while you're in character creation.
You die during character creation?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm trying to think what else there was in the questions. Systems, genre, the owners. Oh, that's it. The Shadowrun has gone through the hands of several owners, haven't they?
Well,
FASA was the original one, right?
That was the original, yeah.
And then they had it for the first third edition, to the third edition.
Yes.
And then the fourth edition, who took it over?
WizKids, I believe.
FanPro, maybe?
Or FanPro.
That's
FanPro,
it.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who kind of junked it up a little.
Yeah, I mean, it started on the decline because, to be honest, at that time, like I think that was in the mid 2000s or maybe even early 2000s, but you had gotten to a point where like it reached that plateau where it's like, okay, we had all these great ideas. Now what do? People want something new. And so they did what everybody was doing at that time. They introduced a bunch of zombies, and they had a great idea with the Year of the Comet, where Halley's Comet comes around and all this weird stuff happens. Mm-hmm. But after that, when it got to 4th edition, I could see what they were trying to do to try to update it. It just didn't come off very well.
Lack of support, maybe.
And yeah, lack of support, or I think a lack of interest in it too, because the 3rd edition at the end of it kind of turned a lot of people off, where they're like, you took this awesome game and then you had some crap ideas that you should have realized were crap, but you kept them anyway. And then 4th edition came out and you're like, you changed the entire rule system. Like everything I loved about the game, you changed.
Yeah, you can't. Well,
that never
D&D,
ends well.
I'll show you. Learn from them. I know that there's a lot of supplements they have for it too. I mean, there's a load of background material for Shadowrun.
Yeah.
I think all of it is relevant. You can use pretty much all of it for source material at least. There's nothing totally.
It's almost 30 years old now.
Yeah, there is a huge amount. Like I got for first edition books. I like collect first edition stuff and all these old games like that. But I got the core book, and then I got a couple supplements that were the main ones, and then I keep running into stuff, and they're like, "Hey, you want to get this?" I go, "No, I don't want to collect all of it because it's just too much."
It's a lot.
But there is a lot. It has a lot for anything, and it's pretty cool.
Even the 2nd edition, that was still in the days of the box sets.
Yeah.
So you had Denver.
DMZ. You remember DMZ? The Military Zone or whatever. Just
that was a board game.
Yeah, you just run around, blow crap up everywhere, but.
It's tough to give this
fun
game,
when you're a kid.
It's tough to give this game true justice in just a one webisode, but the system works.
Webisode, I like that. No, I like that.
You like that?
I was going to think that. I'm going to write that down. Webisode.
But the system works well. It really does work well. I can't stress that enough. I'll put it this way. It's easy enough for somebody who's never role-played before to make a character. That's a great litmus test for any game, that you can sit it down without you having to sit there and handhold them and pull them through. They can sit down, look at it, and actually make a character. There's some, here and there where you gotta it's not from lack of the way they describe it. It's just lack of them maybe knowing what a role playing game truly is or how to create a character for that. But you can sit somebody down and they can just give them this book and be like, here, you can make a character.
I know that there's a lot of kids that play. There's a couple groups that play it, but they're all younger kids, like high school kids.
Which is awesome.
It's pretty funny because they're all. Sometimes I'll sit back here when I'm working, or I'll hear listen to them play, and they're like, all down with whatever I want to be. The same thing I did, you did.
Mm-hmm.
At that age and that fun. I wanted to be that guy running around doing what I wanted all the time, and before.
I want to be a street samurai with, with the sword and wired reflexes and spurs and guns and
So you can't. I mean,
you still can.
I'll do what I want.
I actually like seeing that though. It's for a little while there. I think pen and paper role playing games kind of declined quite a bit because there's just so much other entertainment out there.
I could get a whole webisode about what I think about like why it went up and down. It just just from watching it, but it was the gist would be computers. Everyone would play because it was easy, but then it was also very limited. As great as computer games are, they're very limited, and I still think that's why like 4th edition was either for D&D was either the worst, was a terrible mistake or a brilliant idea, because it got all those kids that played video games into a system that they could understand, because that's what it was to me, is just a paper video game. And then once they started playing, they're like, oh, I could do a lot more than I can in, like, say, whatever fantasy game, Skyrim or whatever it is. I can do whatever I want, jump around, and then it got them into that. And so everybody does both. But yeah, I don't know, still to this day. But I think you're right. It did decline for a while, and then it's coming back up. Because plus you get to interact with people. Yeah. You can only sit in your dark room in a basement for so long. I mean,
tell my son that.
They'll get out of it. They'll get out. I was playing Call of Duty. Was it 2 nights ago or yesterday? And it was like 3 a.m. I'm like, what am I doing? Sitting by myself.
It's not like I don't know what I have to do here. I just go around killing people. As fun as it is, yeah.
No, I meant, what am I doing? I should go to bed or something. I got something good productive to do. But no, that's pretty cool. But sorry, there's time checking there.
Do you have any of these in stock?
Yeah, I have the core. I actually have a lot of Shadowrun stuff in stock.
Come down, pick it up. If you guys.
You know what I like? They had was like a beginner box.
Yes.
I can't get that anymore. Or I don't.
Well, the core rule book, like I said, this is a beefy book. I think it's almost 600 pages. I mean, it's huge.
I think that's what's intimidating to some people.
But it's almost 500 pages. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But
Josh, read this by tomorrow, will you? 500 pages. Can't you just plug it into your head? You're like half cyborg anyway.
I'm getting there.
So, like with my experience though, even with the bigger games, you get one friend who really likes it. He gets everybody else into it, and then he can break it up and everybody else.
That's what I see with these younger kids. Is one kid was really into it, and then he brought a couple other kids in, and then one of the kids that was playing with him broke off too, and then he taught another. It's like anything, but I've noticed it was easy. It's always easier when you have somebody who knows what they're doing to play the game and go.
And it's a fun game. I mean, you can literally. Not every Shadowrun has to be twists and turns with some big plot. I mean, you can run a game where
get from point A to point B.
And it
survives.
Here's a package. We need this to get this to whatever, and you do that, and nobody's really trying to. It just
you could Futurama up that adventure.
Yes, I mean, if you wanted to, or you could just make it like what the mission was. Every now and again you just throw that in there. It'll surprise the crap out of your players. Like,
I know.
Wow, this guy wasn't lying to me. I just had to do that. Awesome.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's another good game we should try.
It is a blast.
Yeah.
If you can get a group together that really has A-type personalities and they'll be able to sit down and play it, it is just a hoot just to watch because people tend to take on the personification of their Shadowrun characters pretty seriously. I know. It's not like D&D where it's like, oh, I roll dice, whatever. I mean, people really do get into their characters with this, and it's fun to see.
It's also stuff you can associate with because a lot of this, it's computers, and you can associate with it better than say like a crossbow or a broadsword or a dragon chasing you. A couple guys shooting.
You can still have a dragon chasing you in this though.
I mean, yeah,
you'd be dead pretty quick.
Yeah. I'm going to start that at level 1. All right then. So, anything else you can think of off topic, off of Shadowrun?
Off of Shadowrun in general, I know that they have a couple of video games that were on the, I think on the iPad or on Steam.
Steam.
Yeah. if you're more into video games, check those out. And if you like the system, by all means, pick up the rule book and just see what the other side of that coin is.
Yeah.
See what for Xbox coming out.
Xbox One's supposed to. Yeah, I did read that. I guess there is an Xbox One for this coming out too. Shadowrun.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I did read that somewhere in my travels.
A video game got me into it. I mean, that's like just playing that game, seeing the settings, seeing how it worked. Like that got me into playing this game, and I've been hooked since '93. So that's been a while.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, I always keep it in stock. It's a staple for here at the stop. So if you want to stop in and get it, come on in.
Yes, and support your local gaming store. That's another thing I
Doggone
got to stress.
Yeah. And
Honestly, I just
No,
I
it's
know
fine.
people can order stuff online, but yeah, come to a gaming store. Talk to people.
Yeah, we do appreciate any business you give us, and we do get a lot of people that come and say, "I'd rather get from you than online because it's fun." Then you can come and talk to us.
Start
you can
a
watch,
gaming group.
watch me lose my mind yelling at people, and it's fun that way. Off topic of Shadowrun, I just want to talk about how you ruined my D&D game now, Nate.
I didn't mean to.
No, Nate ran a game for us. Actually, I run my group through D&D, and I needed a break, so Nate came in and did a one-shot, and that's all I hear about. Well, Nate had handouts, and look at this, and Nate did this, and Nate had this, and we were doing this, and oh my God, aren't you going to have that? I'm like, no. I'm sorry, I'm not as good as Nate.
Few are.
They're like,
few are.
and then immediately was like, well, hey, Carlos, if you can't run a game one week, we just have Nate step in. I'm like, oh, already. I see myself getting phased out of this. But no, they really appreciate it. You did run a good game of that. All Flesh Must Be Eaten.
That's just
too bad. Yeah, we ran out of time, but it was pretty good. It was very well done, and it had us guessing, and it was good for a mystery. Josh liked it, right? Yeah, it was creepy.
It was
Very
creepy,
creepy.
yeah.
You did it very good because it's people keep coming back. We had one player who's very impatient. I'm going to the lake and I'm shooting somebody. All right, well, I don't think we can do that, but okay. There might be repercussions in this world.
Yeah. Well, it, just like anything, you try to play it to a little bit of reality.
Oh yeah. That's
just because you have a badge and a gun doesn't mean you can
yeah.
kill people.
That's what made it more fun. Yeah.
Actual locations.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, that's like 2 hours away.
Yeah, because he used real locations for a modern setting.
Yeah.
So it's like we could associate with what he was talking about. So that was
Makes it
also
even
good.
creepier.
Yeah. You can do that with Shadowrun too.
Yeah,
just part of the future.
I
think they had
made a Cleveland of the Shadows back when I played, and it
Yeah.
was. They never published anything for it, but they
No, I
always
was
hinted
gonna
at
say,
stuff.
yeah, they always get Chicago, Seattle, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, Seattle's the big setting.
Imagine that, but no. All right. Well, thanks for listening to us. If you want to give us a call us at 216-712-7169. Check us out on the web at immortalsinconline.com. From there, you can access all of our podcasts, video streams, events, and specials, and leagues. We got some leagues going right now, or
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
yeah, a couple. All right. If you want to email me, it's podcast.immortalsinc@gmail.com. On Twitter, it's immortals_inc. Twitch, Immortals Inc. YouTube, Immortals Inc. It's all pretty much Immortals Inc. It's one of the few that pops up. There's nothing else.
Google's an amazing thing, too.
I know. And then also check out our live streams. We got TCD live streams on Monday, Katie Paints on Thursdays, Immortals Inc. board game group on Sundays. Anything else? Oh, Magic on Thursdays.
Tomorrow, special paint, Halloween special by Katie,
Katie's doing a special Halloween paint tomorrow. What time?
12:30.
12:30. What's she painting?
I don't know.
Oh, it's special. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it'll be scary either way. No.
She's talented.
Mhm,
I've checked that out a few times. Like she's and she talks while she does it too. It's not just here, watch me paint. Like
Watch me
this
paint.
This is how I do it. So if you want to copy this, you can.
I know. Yeah, she's a very good teacher, and I keep wanting her to finish my stuff or do stuff for us. And actually, she did a lot of our terrain. They're playing Age of Sigmar right now outside of the studio because we're cool. We have a studio. You like this, Nate? It's cool, right?
You can call any closet a studio with enough green paint.
Stop it.
No, this is great.
Actually, we have a full. Pretty soon, we're going to have it so people can, if they want to come in and like rent studio space.
Hey.
We're going to do that. If you want to make your own podcast or do whatever. So
stage
that's
up.
down to I got to work out the bugs and make sure everything's okay before I do that. But
Have a cover charge.
yeah, I know. Well, probably the hour, I figure. Right, Josh? And then you can rent Josh by the hour.
Cheap.
We're going to go from there. But all right. Well, thanks for listening. And next week, we're going to be reviewing Vampire the Masquerade. pretty cool. I might actually read some of it since I'm still on vacation.
From
Since
what I've read, it's. I don't want to give too much. It's awesome.
All right,
I like it.
I'll give it
I
a
like
read,
it.
since I'm still on furlough from my regular job, so I'll be good. So,
like it.
all right. See you guys next week or 2 weeks or whenever we get back together.
Yeah. Soon.
All right. Bye.